Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about the Pythagorean Theorem, but specifically about what it is, or what is it. And we know it's the formula a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, but where did that formula come from? Now, let me give you a little brief explanation. Remember that the Pythagorean Theorem only is useful for what they call right triangles, right? And remember that a right triangle has to have a 90-degree angle in it. And this little square box here in the triangle, it makes the indication that this is a right triangle, okay? But where does the a squared, the b squared, and the c squared come from? So a couple things. The c squared, what it's equal to, is always the longest side. It's the side that's opposite the 90-degree angle, right? So this always is going to be marked c. This can be a or b, this can be a or b. You just have to make sure that you do them differently, okay? Now, according to this length squared plus this length squared will equal this length squared. But there's actually something a little bit more. How did they figure that out? Where did that come from? Let me draw this a little bit differently. I'll make it a little bit larger. No, you know what? Actually, let me do that again. Let me just turn this all over and do it like this. I need a lot more space than I just did. So here we go. And here's my right triangle. Let's say that we know that this side is 4. And we know that this side is 3. Okay? So what is this side here? Now, what does that 4 mean? What does that 3 mean? It's the length, right? But this is how they got that. Let's assume that we create a square that's 4 by 4 by 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll do the same thing down here. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you square 4, you should get 16 of these little boxes. And remember, when you square a side, so 4 times 4, length times width, will give you the area. And the area would be 16 square whatevers. Okay? So that's why we square it. Now the same thing over here. If we did this and made it 3, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we'll square this. 3 all around. You square that. They're the same units, right? So this will be 3 squared, or 9. So 16 plus 9 would equal, let me show you this. According to the Pythagorean Theorem, 1, 2, 3, oops, didn't quite do that there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Okay, let me just draw all these in here. And this would actually end up being 5. 5. That would be 5. And that would be 5. If you were to take all these boxes and add it to all these boxes, you would get all these little boxes. In other words, this area plus this area would equal that area. So we know that it's 5. Let me explain that. I know that 3 squared gives me 9. 4 squared gives me 16. And if this were x squared, add those up, and you would get 25. So 25 would be equal to x squared. Take the square root of both sides. 5 would be equal to x. And sure enough, we get what the length of this is. But really, you can think of these in terms of the areas of the boxes formed by the different sides of the triangle. And that briefly is where the Pythagorean Theorem came from. Hope that was helpful.